Hey Mentees, Rob64 here, and welcome to another edition of Near Mint Condition Gaming Edition, where today we're going to talk about, this is my E3 shirt, video games. We're going to talk about some of the gaming news that's happening, and we're going to talk about the Nintendo Direct. No, we're going to talk about the indie. It's fine. We're going to get there. We're going to get there. But there's been a bunch of cool things that have happened since then, so we're going to do a little bit of catch up, and then talk about some of the cool things that happened on the Nintendo Direct, Indie Direct, Nindy Direct. It's always going to be Nindies in my head. Let's get started. A lot of big news for PC gamers. First of all, Quake 1 and Quake 2. QuakeCon will occur, and Bethesda was giving out those games, so make sure you got those games. Hopefully you got them for free. Microsoft announced that Halo Infinite multiplayer is confirmed to be free to play and 128 frames per second. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. They also said that it's going to be delayed, which is rather unfortunate. But I want to give Microsoft the time they need to make sure that Halo looks as beautiful as it can be, because if you recall from the Microsoft gaming event, it looked kind of flat, and that was mainly due to the global illumination that's going on, and they're trying to retain that classic look. But I think Microsoft sees the negative response, and they're going to try and beef these things up, make it look retro, still like Combat Evolved, but still make it look next generation. So take all the time that you need, although it's kind of a big hit that is not going to hit the Xbox Series X at launch, but it'll be available on everything, PC, Xbox One X, and Game Pass, and I think I'm willing to wait for it. If you are a fan of, you like Suikoden, then you'll be super pumped to know that there's a Kickstarter called Eiyuden Chronicles, 100 Heroes. And this is by a Japanese development team called Rabbit and Bear Studios. It's a lot of the same producers and designers from the original Suikoden series, which I love. And a lot of people at Near Mint Condition love as well. They did an awesome video. They even had Koji Igarashi in the video talking about what they're trying to do, and it's going to be very similar to a Suikoden game where you have 100 characters and each has branching story outlines, and it's going to be turn-based strategic RPG combat. And I'm super pumped for this. I'm glad that these guys are getting the funding that they need, and I'm looking forward to it. So check it out if you haven't already. Other gaming news. So we finally get PlayStation 4 players who have missed out on Cuphead on the Switch and Microsoft. It's now coming to PlayStation 4. That's pretty nice. Speaking of Xbox, Battletoads. I'm not sure how I feel about this, because I was a huge fan of the original Battletoads, and I was one of the kids that could beat it, because when you're a kid, you don't have anything else to do, so you have time to still do, and I can still do the jetpacks. I can still do that. Battletoads is coming to Xbox, and the art style is kind of out there, but the trailer looks really nice. The previous trailers that I've seen for it, I was like, I don't know, but this makes it look good, so I'm certainly going to give it a shot, and it's coming soon. There was a Japan Fighting Games Publishers Roundtable recently, and there's a lot of cool news that came out of this too. I'm a big fan of fighting games. So we saw that Samurai Showdown Season Pass 3 was announced. We don't know who's going to be the characters for Season 3. I think there's around 25 or 26 characters in Samurai Showdown right now, and it's a good game, so I'm all for more content. Street Fighter V had a 2-week trial period where everyone could play all 40 characters for free. That was nice. Setsuka, it's in Soul Calibur 6. That's a free content upgrade. I always take free DLC whenever I can get it. That's awesome. Tekken 7 is getting a Season Pass number 4. That'll be out in the fall of 2020. There's going to be new moves for all the characters and online gameplay improvements, and our favorite, Kunimitsu, is coming, so that'll be cool. We also have some new characters coming to Guilty Gear Strive, including Leo Whitefang, and we saw that Guilty Gear Strive is coming to PS5. That's going to be awesome. It'll be gorgeous too. But how many more pixels do you need for good 2D art? Didn't we do that with Street Fighter 3? I'm kidding. Always more resolution. Cyberpunk 2077, CD Projekt Red. They had another Night City Wire live stream, and this one was really cool. It talked about this 3 distinct origin stories that you can choose, which is really awesome. The amount of detail in this game has blown me away. So you can be a street kid that lives in Night City, or you can be a nomad that's in the Badlands, which is a great name for the surrounding area of this place. It's very desert-y. Or you can be a corpus, which is basically a corporate stooge. That's just where you start. Where you end up, because this is a for-real RPG, is completely up to you. So that's exciting. They also talked about the weapons, and there's 3 types of weapons in this game. There's melee, there's ranged, and then there's cyberware. This was focused on the guns. The guns are power guns, and they're tech guns, and smart weapons. There's also a music section talking about the soundtrack of the game. There's a Swedish punk band called Refused. They went into depth of how they transformed into the in-game band called Samurai, which I thought was pretty neat. And so, you have these guys wailing on guitars and making sure that they sound what the voice director wants them to sound like rather than what they sound like when they're screaming. It was really interesting commentary. So if you haven't seen it, check out the Night City Wire live stream, and get ready for Cyberpunk. Hopefully, it won't be delayed because they wanted to really nail down combat. They currently said that melee combat isn't exactly where they want it to be. I'm sure it'll be next gen. Hopefully it's this year. Maybe it's November. Maybe not. We'll see. Fingers crossed. Dragon Ball FighterZ adds Master Roshi. I know Dan is going to be super pumped by everyone's favorite turtle hermit, giving mega powers with a little bit of perversion in it. And there's a lot of other news that's been going on too. There's a huge war with Epic versus Apple, which is basically Epic doesn't want Apple to get that 30% cut, and Apple's like, I have that Apple money. We'll see about your Fortnite money. So if you haven't seen the hilarious Fortnite trailer, which I don't know how tacky that is to put Fortnite players against Apple, but it's a big mess. We should talk about that in the comments below, what you think. Fall Guys by Mediatonic is a huge game right now. It's free on PlayStation Plus, and it's basically you're these little squishy dudes. We've talked about this in a previous episode, and you're trying not to fall, and it's hilarious. It's like a 60 battle royale game. It's wonderful, it's fun, and their Twitter account is on fire. It has like 1 million Twitter followers in a very short amount of time, and right now they're waging a war with brands and giving away to charity who can have an in-brand outfit in the game. It's great. If you haven't had a chance to play it, be sure that you do. It's fun, it's awesome, and like I said, it's free on PlayStation Plus right now. Another big game that just was released is Microsoft Flight Simulator. If you have 150 gigs free, you've got to try this. It's the most realistic flight simulator that you wouldn't even think is possible with technology. It leverages the Azure cloud to get like Earth, yes, Earth, including where you live, including where I live, except Buckingham Palace. It didn't get that one quite right. It's just an apartment complex, but it's fine. The rest of Earth looking perfect. And there's weather, and there's physics, and it's never lows. Everything is pulled in and streamed real time. It's mind-numbing how amazing this game is. So if you have 150 gigs, it's on Xbox Game Pass for PC. And if you want a physical edition, you need to move to Europe. So I guess I'm out of luck on that one. If you have another 66 gigs free, the new Call of Duty update is that. So basically you need to buy a 256 gig hard drive in order to enjoy some games, which is why I'm a fan of cartridges from back in the old days. A little bit of Nintendo news before we jump into the Indie World Showcase. Out of nowhere, Nintendo dropped Pikmin 3 Deluxe. Yay! So this is based on the Wii U game, which I keep talking about. Wii U games come to Switch so I can put away the Wii U. But as our buddy Modern Vintage Gamer has said recently, the Wii U is not going anywhere. It's a fantastic system to keep around. So I keep saying I'm going to get rid of it. It's not going to happen. Anyway, Pikmin 3 Deluxe. There's all the DLC and extra features that came on it. We'll be including this game and hopefully a couple of new little features as well. And it looks gorgeous. So, of course, the original did too. That's coming on Switch. Yay. Pre-order now. We also saw a brief listing for Skyward Sword at Amazon UK. Like, why is Skyward Sword being listed for Switch? We know that the 35th anniversary of Zelda is next year. The original came out in 1986. That's how math works. So are we getting a new Skyward Sword? And there was a lot of hate. A lot of hate from my buddies on Skyward Sword. I personally loved it. This Skyward Sword was the first Zelda game where I totally was all in on saving Zelda, because like she had a real active part in the gameplay and the story. And she wasn't just someone in distress. Like she was like trying to do stuff. Like it was really cool. The music was gorgeous. The graphics were pretty, and I really didn't have a problem with the waggle. I thought the waggle was cool. So, Skyward Sword, I'm all in for it. I like it better than Twilight Princess, which I like Twilight Princess, but which Zelda do you think is awesome and looking forward to for Switch? Let me know in the comments below. Lastly, the 35th anniversary of Mario is this year, and we've seen some Amazon listing pre-orders for controllers from Power A and Hori. And those controllers are coming out September 1st and September 4th. And there's also this big business meeting in Nintendo Japan, NCL, in Japan, also in September. And we just had this Indie World Showcase drop. So that means a for real Nintendo Direct. Not that these aren't Nintendo Directs, but the Nintendo Direct, first party Nintendo Direct, has to be coming soon. So with that, let's jump into what the Indie World Showcase came up with. I was actually really impressed and surprised with this showcase. There's a lot of cool games that I didn't know about that are coming either today or coming very soon for Nintendo Switch. So let's just start talking about them, okay? First up is Hades by Supergiant Games. This is a roguelike dungeon crawler type game. It's isometric, been out on PC for a while, and it's really cool graphic style, very colorful, very violent, where you're this guy and you, every time you get killed, you go back to hell, you get more powerful and go for your next mission. Pretty awesome. And it has cross-save compatibility with PC. So That's good. And it should be appearing in the fall on Nintendo Switch. Looking forward to that. Next up, we saw a game called Hypnospace Outlaw by No More Robots. And this is like a totally radical 90s investigation game where you use the internet. Did you know we had the internet back in the 90s? With Netscape and Internet Explorer. So it looks very 90s, trying to use your internet to solve investigations and mysteries and things like that via a web browser. It looks really cool. The official game comes out at the end of August, and there's a demo available right now. So check it out, see what you think, and see how we used the internet back in the day. Next up is Spiritfarer by Thunder Lotus, and this is a 2D cartoony looking side-scrolling game. You're building boats, and there's some resource management, and basically what you're doing is you are bringing spirits to their final resting place. It looks really nice. There's lots of cool hugs and loves to give to these spirits to try and get to where they need to go, and it's available today. Next up, we have another game called Garden Story by Pictogram and Rose City Games, and this is a 2D overhead pixel art game. You are a grape named Concord. Like a Concord grape. I get it. That's funny. Yeah. There's a lot of resource management in this game, similar to like Animal Crossing and Stardew Valley. And there's a little bit of combat in between too. If there's one thing I love, is my food fighting each other out and talking. This is coming out in 2021. It looks really cool. Garden Story. Check it out. Concord grape. That's so funny. Really great. Okay. Subnautica and the DLC Subnautica Below Zero by Unknown Worlds Entertainment is coming to Nintendo Switch. This has been out on PC for a while, and it's been out on PlayStation as well. What this is an undersea survival, I'm not going to say survival horror, but it is kind of survival horror adventure game where you're in this capsule, you splash land, there's a big radioactive, your home mothership is over here. You dive under the water, get pieces, and try and rebuild like enough equipment where you can go further and try and figure out what happened. And it's really cool, and there's lots of cool fish under the sea and weird creatures, and it's really beautiful. And again, it's not survival horror, but it can be absolutely terrifying. So that's really cool that it's coming out on Nintendo Switch. And this game was a pretty resource intensive game, so I'm looking forward to how well it's going to be ported over. I'm excited for it. Takeshi and Hiroshi by Oink Games. This one kind of speaks to me. So this is about an older brother game designer making an RPG for his younger brother. And he has to make sure that the game isn't too difficult for his younger brother to play. And if you're the older sibling, and you have younger siblings, this is speaking right up to your alley. The art style for the brothers interacting is like a claymation, stop motion type style. It looks really nice. And then when it switches to the RPG, it's very side view, like old like Final Fantasies and things like that. I think it's going to be really cool. It looks like something's going to pull at my heart a bit, and that is out today. Raji, an ancient epic by Nottingham Games and Super.com. It's a 3D I got a strong God of War look with this. Beautifully animated, and it's set in ancient India, and a lot of the epic stories are coming from Hindu mythology. So you have a lot of Hindu-esque art, and it has cool boss fights and cool enemies, and it looks really nice. I am looking forward to checking this out too. So that is also available on Nintendo Switch today. I love diversity in my games, and this is definitely a diverse game. Bear and Breakfast by Gummy Car Studio and Armor Game Studio. This is a very Stardew Valley-esque 2D overhead game where you are a bear. Yes, a bear. The bear's name is Hank, and he runs a bread and breakfast. And he has to do all these things to get people to come to his bread and breakfast and keep money and food and inventory and things like that. Also, Hank is really cool looking, so I never thought there'd be a game about a bear running a bread and breakfast, but here we are. It looks really cool. This is why we have indie developers come up with these really unique ideas, and this is coming 2021. Looking forward to it. Next up was a game called A Short Hike by Whippoorwill. We've seen this before. It looks like a PlayStation 1 3D tilted view, very pixely, kind of cel shaded, with cartoon animals, and I don't actually know what you do. You seem to be this bird, penguin, named Claire. Claire's really cute, and you can ride boats, and fly planes, and interact with other animals, and do stuff. I don't know what you do, but it looks really neat. It looks pretty, and as a PS1 era type person, I'm all about giving it a shot. So that's coming soon. Be sure you check it out. A short hike. Next up was a game called Card Shark by Nerial. And this is from the same creators of the game called Reigns. And this is a 2D 18th century French art style card game where you cheat and swindle and lie and get the most out of your competitors. And there's cool 2D art that goes with this. It looks really cool. I like card games and card tricks. It should be neat. Check it out. It'll be available in 2021. Next up was Torchlight 3. This is by Perfect World and Ectria Games. This is, if you're not sure, a Diablo-esque roguelite. Lots of really beautiful colors, lots of cool combat. It looks pretty slick if you're a fan of the original Torchlight and Torchlight 2, which are good games. That's coming fall of this year, and there's supposed to be exclusive content for Nintendo Switch. Next up was Manifold Garden by William Keir Studios. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong. I apologize, but William is like a very teeny tiny little studio. But this is neat. This is a very stylish optical illusion 3D puzzle type gameplay, manipulating the environment, manipulating shapes, and it looks like some of those infinite puzzles. It made my head spin, but it looked really neat, and I'm a fan of big puzzle games too, like Gorgora. That should be out today. Evergate by Stone Lantern Games in PQ. This is a 2D puzzle platformer type game, kind of similar in vein to Ori or Hollow Knight, where you control the spirit and you bounce through these. It's a beautiful cartoon-esque 2D world, and there's a time-lapse mechanic that you can use to go in and solve puzzles, and that looks really nifty, and that is out today. And the last game that was showcased, we hear a bunch of honking. Oh dear. Untitled Goose game was announced, and it's been out for Switch, but what was announced today was 2-player local co-op, so 2 geese can be jerks to these poor people in this village. Local co-op, chaos is sure to ensue with 2 geese messing around with villagers and solving puzzles. I'm going to tell you, I love Untitled Goose Game. It's got a lot of play here at my house, and the children have also responded poorly whenever they play the game too. Shouldn't give them ideas. But in addition to that coming out, that is a free update for existing platforms. September 23rd is when that free update is coming. It's also coming to Steam on September 23rd and itch.io, and a physical edition is available on Amazon and Best Buy and your places where you buy your video games. If you haven't had a chance to try Untitled Goose Game, please give it a shot. It's wonderful, it's fun, and won all kinds of awards, and it's a great game. That is our update up to the Indie World Showcase. The next thing up is supposed to be Nintendo's actual Direct. Should be pumped. I'm looking forward to Mario, looking forward to Zelda, I'm looking forward to Metroid. So, you know, the same games I've been playing since I was 12. Oh boy. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this content. Let me know what games that you're excited about that I've talked about either in the Indie World Showcase or other things that happen to that. We still have a Warner Brothers Showcases coming up. We have a Patreon. Thank you very much to every single one of our Patreon subscribers. We really do appreciate you guys supporting us here at Near Mint Condition. We also have a Redbubble if you want some cool Near Mint Condition swag. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share! Smash that notification icon if you want to get alerts the second we drop new content. And remember, gamers who play together, stay together. So, love one another, keep gaming, wash your hands, keep on a mask, and take care of yourself. Peace.